Hello, everyone, and welcome to Manifestation Moments. I am your host, Alyssa Threadgill. I'm excited to introduce Professor Karen M. Turner. Please welcome Crystal Bublin.
Sade Spence. Like, how do you keep yourself pumped up, keep yourself excited to dive into new projects and things like that?
Yeah, that is a good question because I was actually very nervous about launching boot camp. I just felt like I wasn't sure, what if nobody actually wants to learn or, is interested in joy? I don't know. We all speak our own fears into ourselves, and then I have to speak them back out and say, no, people have been asking me for information for a long time. I feel like somebody is going to be interested in joining. And I knew from my heart that I genuinely also wanted to help. In creating this coaching program. It wasn't supposed to be some sort of easy way to start some new project, side hustle or anything like that. It's not at all. I really genuinely want to, help, other people get into the field, but also get into the field with a good set of tools and knowledge, because I think in our industry, a lot of people are joining and they're not as aware of maybe their role or journalism, ethics and morals and things like that. And I, was doing this, I'm going to take on some of that responsibility. So I want to make sure that, the next generation is also very aware of that. And yeah, so all of that was swirling around in my head. What if no one wants to join? Or what if they think the course is terrible? They think all the things. And eventually it was as I kept making it, I kept thinking, no, this is such, as I was making it, I realized, no, this is actually really good information. And, I wish I had this. And, when I realized that to myself, I was like, okay, this is fine. I think it's going to be useful, and I think it's going to be great, and it's going to reach people and help change their lives. And that's what I want to do. And, my family, and my significant other would be very supportive. No, it's such a good idea. Keep going. So also having, supportive family and friends is very helpful.
Just because they're playing music, they're putting in little tidbits of information for their communities. And I love it that so many of them, they stuck with it. It wasn't always easy, and sometimes you had to pick up and move, and sometimes you had setbacks. But I think everyone who you talk to just absolutely are glad that they stuck with radio and just love radio. And in some circles, radio's not hip. But it's there, and it has reinvented itself. I mean, now people are into podcasts, and a lot of people are getting into podcasts. But, it was constantly reinventing itself. And so it'll be interesting to see where it goes next.
So I think radio is very hip. I listen to the radio, and I grew up listening to WHYY. I wonder if I ever heard you and just didn't know.
It's always a pleasure when I run into young people who actually listen to the radio. And certainly WHYY must be your parents, right?
Well, yes, but we love to listen to WHYY. And my mom is a donor. She supports WHYY.
Wonderful, yes. Wonderful.
Yes. So I love radio. I don't know if I'm going to go into radio exactly, but I do appreciate it and I do listen.
Well, but with public radio, and you're not going to get rich. With public radio, what I like about it, and students, I used to teach a radio course at Temple. It'd be great if we could resurrect it one day. Is the long format that you have to tell stories, especially if you're on the news side. You can delve into things a little more deeply. And I think considering that alternate facts are out there, that it's important that there be a medium through which people truly can get true facts.
It wasn't fun for me anymore. They were really taking the personalities out of radio. and because of the PPM, the personal people meter, and I was like, well, we're gonna move on, and then I started doing like PA work, production assistant work, and I was in Texas, and yeah, and then I eventually made my way out to LA, and so here we are.
Hey. Yeah, that's interesting because my whole goal with whatever I end up doing, it needs to be something where it doesn't feel like a job, if that makes sense. I want to be able to get up and be excited to have a new task for the day. And like I have a job, but it's my high school job. I work as a grocery store cashier.
Right.
Not for me. I don't like it, but it's just what I'm doing right now. So,
well, you have to, especially in any facet of entertainment, right?
Yes.
You have to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. I mean, when I used to do middays in Fayetteville, and my, the FAFSA people caught up with me. So my paycheck was being garnished. So not only was I would do middays, and then I would either get off of work and go be a waitress at Applebee's, or I was an assistant at a salon called Nubian Naturals. Like, and then I would get up the next day and do it all over again. Like I was a midday personality on the Heritage Station in the Market. But on a Friday, you can definitely see me slinging drinks at Applebee's. So like, you kind of just have to do what you have to do. Like, I'm working on my acting career, and I'm in that situation now. Like 2 weeks ago, I booked something that shot in New York, flew to New York, shot it, came back to Ubering. So,
wow.
Actually, the weekend I came back, I was recognized for the first time. I host a show called Black People Don't Do Improv on Kev on Stage Studios. And I was actually dropping off a Uber Eats delivery. And as I'm getting in my car to pull off, a guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, is your name Crystal? Because my friend is a big fan of the work you do with Kev on Stage Studios." And I was like, "What?
That's so cool."
It was one of those things that made my day.
Hello, everyone. My name is Edward Hill. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to interview with a young up-and-coming professional within the communications and journalism industry. Today, I'm going to interview Alyssa Threadgill. She is a broadcast and journalism major with a minor in theater. She's very excited and driven to be able to learn and gain knowledge within this industry. So it's my honor to be able to ask her a few questions today. Alyssa, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get some insights from you, kind of learn about what your experience has been. So let's jump right in. Given your experience and what you've been able to do, you mentioned manifestation. What have you done in the sense of, what's the word? You've been able to manifest a lot of these things that have happened for you. What does that mean to you? Like, what kind of thoughts do you have about manifestation?
Yeah, I've done a lot of manifesting because I feel like manifesting and faith go together, I think. So just knowing that whatever you want, even if it's not exactly what you want, somehow it's just going to work out. And I tend to be a bit of a worrier. And I have to remember, I was just doing this like yesterday because I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff I want to do in the next year and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it. But it's like, you have to remember that it's like you're given the right opportunities at the right time, is what I was touching on earlier about seeing other people doing things. No. because you never know what road bumps are ahead for them or what anything could happen at any time, as we've seen the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's very up and down.
Yeah. So just because someone's having a really great day, and also social media, very filtered, very unrealistic. So, like, so what? This person got to have this opportunity, but maybe their car broke down the next day. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
So I try to remember that too, because we all have our good moments, we all have our bad moments. But with manifestation, I manifested going to temple because I had wanted to go to temple since I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And there were days where I was like, oh, I just bombed this exam. There's no way I'm going to temple now. Or the next day, I just got an A. I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
And there were moments where I really didn't think I was going to be able to go because temple was, I heard from temple a week before the pandemic shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not looking good either because temple was a school that was the second to last school I heard from. I didn't hear from them until March, and you got to decide in May.
Oh, wow, they had you waiting, sweating it out.
Because I was getting ready to go to Shippensburg University because I felt pressure to go to these. They have these admitted students days.
Okay.
And I felt pressure to sign up and go
to
Shippensburg's because that was the only other school where I could study journalism. I applied to 8 other schools. Those were the only schools that had those specific programs. Anywhere else, I was just going to be a communications major, which would have been settling for something that wasn't what I wanted. So I was ready to sign up for this admitted students day. Sure. And I remember it was March 3rd, 2020. And because I'll never forget. And I got that little email. And what's interesting is that I have a contact at the admissions office, which I don't know is a normal thing or not, but this was a person that would come to the high schools in my area and talk about these schools and get people interested. So he gave out his email and said, hey, let me know when you apply. I'll look out for you. That doesn't, because obviously it's him and however many people deciding who gets in these schools.
Right.
But I said, this is my dream school. And it's funny because I went to he would have these meetings in our auditorium at my high school. And I was going from 9th grade to senior year. He knew me, let's just say that. So I emailed him, let him know what I was doing. And I just remember getting an email from him on March 3rd, 2020. And it said, hi, Alyssa. Today would be a really good day to look at your admissions portal. I think you'll be very excited. And that's all he said. And I went in, and this was crazy. I went on the website, and there was nothing there.
Okay.
There was nothing there. And I'm sitting at lunch with my friend, and I'm scrolling through. I'm like, why is there nothing there? Why is it it was nearly blank.
He was playing a joke on you or something.
And I go all the way to the bottom of the page, and in the tiniest font I've ever seen, it said university acceptance.
Wow.
It was a mind game.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. There was no confetti. It was just tiny.
Yeah. But that meant, you remember the date, and you know what, too? Well, I hear people say manifestation, and it's kind of like this idea of, things sometimes just happened. But in hearing your story, there was a lot of action that you took. You talked about the ability to connect with a representative from Temple. You attended these meetings where he was talking about the university throughout each year of your high school career. And then also, too, having the ability to make yourself known of what you want to do. And you had a goal to have journalism as a major, and you could have settled for communications and gone to a different school, but it sounds like you were able to stick to the plan and really focus on what it is that you wanted to achieve. I don't want to jump over that. I think that is a very big way to bring about the things that you want to manifest, and that is taking action on the things that you want to happen.
I completely agree, and I feel like that actually made me feel a lot better, just because, you have those days And this is something I've really noticed, especially when connecting with other reporters, is that it is so easy to forget where you came from. And I hear that a lot. It's like, oh, remember where you came from. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's true because like just talking about it, I was just like, man, I completely forgot how hard I fought to just be in college. And, you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's what life's for, is like change makes you uncomfortable. But you get comfortable in your situation sometimes and you're like, oh, I just wish I could be at this next step.
Sure.
This next thing I want to do. And you forget how you dreamed of being where you are in this very moment. And I've seen this in so many different aspects of my life where I'm in this state of discontentment. And I'm thinking, I was like, I'm almost done college and I really wanted to do this and I'm having a great time, but it's like you forget, you get so used to routines and you're just like, I need to take a minute and really soak up the time that I have here before I jump to the next thing. Cause it's like people who have these like 5-year plans.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
and life comes and says, guess what? Things aren't gonna go in that order.
Yeah, because like if it were up to me, because I made a lot of my plans when I was way too young to know what plans were.
Sure.
So like me wanting to go to Temple at 9 years old, like that's a lot. And that's a big step. I was barely done elementary school.
Yeah.
But I was planning.
Not many 9-year-olds are thinking about the college or university.
When they were 18.
To attend. Yeah.
Like I didn't even, and obviously I changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
And I've been through different experiences that changed my perspective on those plans. And you can't do that to yourself, because if I had it my way, I'd already be married. I'd already have 5 jobs. Yeah. But it's like when you're 9 years old, you don't know the plan, and you probably won't know the plan until you're in it.